Hi there, Cosm family. My name is Leal, and here I am here today to talk about the new moon in Gemini of May 27th of 2025, of course. This is happening in the degree 6 of Gemini, so in that area of our natal chart, we are beginning a cycle of 6 months. Gemini is the zodiacal phase of interaction with the environment. This is the curiosity of wanting to know more and the agility and mutability of the mind, the necessary mutability of the mind, because think the same way that we thought when we have 3 years old. So we are coming from Taurus with a Mercury in Taurus that by the moment of the lunation, it is going to move to Gemini. And there in Taurus, the energy is more, I don't know the word, but more connected with the physical plane. It is not this word that I wanted to use. But, Mercury in Taurus needs a lot of concretion and many times, material proofs in order to open itself to other perceptions. So as we have been experimenting a lot of fixed tensions that many times are traduced in blockages, under the mutability of the Sun and Mercury in this sign, we can start to open ourselves to see other doors that we haven't considered before. This is the energy here. It is like I didn't see this in this perspective. So there are solutions that many times it is very necessary for us to open our mind, because insisting in the same way, that is something that many times the shadow, the fixed signs in shadow could do. It is not it will not give results. So this is the moment to change. This lunation is seeding something that comes out from new ideas. Perhaps this is about a connection, because with Gemini we are talking about having a conversation with other person, and that person connects us with other person, and there is an opportunity of doing something. It is very linked with this, or information that comes through the environment, the social media, that changes the way that we were looking at things. This could be linked with something that we need to communicate or to learn also through listening. In fact, it is vital to improve communication, to learn to listen, not under the judgments of the mind, but with true curiosity of understanding the other person. When we have true intention, there are many things that are transmitted in the use and the kind of words that are used, and the gestures, how we are moving our physical body, our face, the tone that we are we are speaking, and the energy that is behind. When there is attention, we could perceive also if the words are empty, if we are talking, if there is a repetition of something that is not processed internally, or that is emitted by conditioning. Or, on the contrary, if the words are charged of light, of the truth, of the person that is emitting that, having in account that the truth is always something that is fitting in this perception that we have of each, in the perception of each one of us, in the things that we understand about ourselves and the reality. It is always, connected to that. And this attention, this listening with attention is not to, again, I am seeing this, I am obtaining this information and make a judgment again, but to notice that, many people and ourselves, many times we are talking from these conditionings, from experiences that generated pain, and that created these mental layers that are creating distortions to perceive reality. I am talking about this because one of the principal aspects of this new moon with the unusual, I think this is the word, aspects that it has. It is a very, very atypical event, is the trine that the Sun, the Moon, and Mercury are making with Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. In here, we have a possibility to look at our dualities, to do a new integration. And perhaps with, the opposition between Mars and Pluto of the last months, that opposition was active since November, and the tensions that we have experimenting the last months too, other tensions. What was blocked, perhaps right now we can find other answers. And to find answers, we have to make us questions, and not always the questions have an evolutionary quality. It is not the same to ask ourselves, why is always happening this to me, why everything is happening to me, than what is this situation showing to me, or what should I learn from this. That are different, those are different vessels. They are going to attract different information. So there is a capacity with this trine, because it is a harmonic aspect, to recognize shadows, but in a way that we are not like absorbed by the emotion, because we are talking about air signs. There is this available energy to comprehend in the mental and rational level, to give to put an applicative, to give applicative to our lives. Yesterday I was telling that in Gemini we are not seeing things like black or white. We can understand in here that every shadow has a light to be revealed, and that what we consider luminous, if it is in an imbalance, can turn into a shadow. For example, let's imagine a person that has the gift to communicate, but if that person spends the whole day talking without listening to others, the gift ends up turning into an imbalance. So let's suppose, sorry, I'm going to look up for this word because I don't know. I don't know it in English, and it is going to be vital to explain the example. Okay, restless, inquiring. Okay, I don't think that this is the word, but let's suppose that a person was pointed as someone very anxious. Here we have restless. I wouldn't like to use this word, but yeah, it is a very moving person, and it was pointed, that thing, as something that wasn't a virtue, that was a defect. Okay, wait. I'm trying to improve my vocabulary. Yeah, defect. That's okay. So what for others could be something that is wrong, perhaps it is the high energy of that person willing to explore new things, and the only thing that that person needs to do is to find ways to channel that energy, so the actions are not directed in situations that are not contributing, and it could end up in a virtue. That's why I think it is very important to see both sides of the coin. And other good thing that we could have with this trine between Pluto and the planets in Gemini, it is, to be able to laugh, or, to see with humor experiences that in the past were perhaps painful. I am not talking about using humor as a way of escaping from discomfort, or escaping from emotions, and it is important to take this in account because there is a lot of air energy, but more as a way of transcendence, because once we have really truly processed something, laughing about that, it is a way of adding transcendence, laughing of ourselves. It is like those reels or posts where people are saying my traumas, my jokes. So it is kind of that kind of this kind of jokes, but of course it is not the same as laughing of the circumstance of other person when that person it is not ready to do so. We have to create discernment with this. And the other positive thing that we have with these trines, it is that Pluto has this quality of deepen, of invest in a very intense way energy in something. So in other polarity, Pluto could be obsession and control, but in here we have this available energy to focus. That is something that the energy of Gemini in shadow could have difficulties. Distraction, dispersion in many directions creates difficulties to deepen in situations. So in here we have this possibility to use our mental energy in a more concentrated way. I want to say that I don't think that Gemini is a sign that only inhabits the superficial things, the superficial aspects of information. Everything could be a shadow, but everything depends on the level of consciousness, of awareness of the person that is incarnating the energy. I am saying that as a stellium in Gemini. But either way, the function of the people that we have a lot of charge of Gemini in our natal chart, it is to know many things, and exploring fields of perhaps different activities to use that as tools for the path. I am explaining this because for a long time our society was like rewarding, like choosing a career and doing the same thing for 50 years. And it is totally okay doing that if it's part of the sense of the soul of the person that is doing that, but it doesn't operate the same way for everybody. And that doesn't mean that we are inconsistent, but it is something, this is a recommendation. It is important to choose one, two, three things, a pair of things, and to dedicate time to do that, because that, of course, helps to generate development. I mean, opening too much directions could end up in not doing anything in the end. So other aspects that are very important in here, it is that the Sun, the Moon, and Mercury are creating sextiles with Saturn and Neptune in Aries. So this adds a lot of direction. Doors are opening that are responding to inner callings. There are opportunities that if we take decisions assuming the responsibility for our own desires, and we are willing to work for them in the sense of building, sustaining with patience in the long term, establishing boundaries. Also, as I was saying, there are things that, this is not adding sense to my experience. I will put a boundary in here because our energy is limited. And because it is a sextile, there is this greater fluidness to transcend the shadows of Saturn, the self-exigency, telling to ourselves, I won't be capable to do that, or nothing is enough, anything is enough. So Neptune also connects us with decisions that are not coming only from this logic or rationality disconnected from the soul, because we know very well that the mind and the soul can be in conflict. And there is, when we are losing sense of the path, we are in this inner fight, and that happens because the mind is in resistance. So we have in here the possibility to put that mind at the service of our intuition. And every creative project, artistical ones, and things that we are doing to contribute with other people are accompanied by Neptune. And at the same time, Saturn gives a lot of balance. This is a wonderful new moon because it doesn't matter how much big is your dream. Saturn, it is the voice that is telling you just to start just starting something among your possibilities that can truly start to be materialized. And this is involving also projects in independent projects. There is a great vital energy to do so. Or perhaps it is in a group because we have Pluto and Aquarius, but being pioneers of something new, opening a path that is that it wasn't transited, and in independence of all the ways of doing things in society. Uranus is about to enter in Gemini in short, and in these first degrees, we are going to stop. We are going to have stop. We are going to have movements that are very revolutionary. So I will talk about Uranus later. My English these days is quite strange. But well, in general, I have difficulties to speak this language. So other thing, these are things that I wanted to say to close this video. Mercury in mathematical degrees is still in conjunction with Uranus in Taurus. So be attentive, pay attention to the ideas that are coming as this download, Uranian download. You could feel even the electricity when we are talking about Uranus, synchronicities, encounters, and dialogues that are taking you to another level of comprehension because that will participate. Jupiter, it is in the last degrees of Gemini. It is not participating of the lunation because it is far away, but it is in this sign. It is already creating attention with Saturn, that is perfected when Saturn enters in Aries and Jupiter in Cancer. I'm going to talk about this later. But Jupiter is living its blessings, the opportunities, or showing the growth that were generated in this house of our natal chart, and is still in square with the karma nodes. Therefore, it is important that our limiting beliefs, to identify our limiting beliefs so they are not stopping us to move forward. We can know when a limited belief is operating because we are losing sense of everything, or we are taking ourselves once and again to the same circumstance that we don't want to experiment. As the last thing, Venus in Aries, I mentioned this aspect in a lot of videos before. Venus in Aries is in a trine with Mars in Leo. So we have more impulse of taking action and not leaving everything only in the plane of the mind. And, you know, this could be an agreement that we are creating with others, or, you know, truly wanting a lot to do something, to create something that we love, that lights our fire, and we just want to go for it. So one of the nicest new moons of the year. Thank you everyone, and see you in the next video. Ciao ciao.